lucid dreaming is a lot about exploring your potential, or sometimes find a new potential or an unfulfilled part in your life.
It's a virtual reality or a simulated reality where you can do whatever you want. So all bets are off, go and play, and that's what most people do.
We were both at a professional seminar at TMI, at the Monroe Institute, and we just sat at the table in the evening, and we were sharing our lucid dreaming experiences. The former president of TMI, Carol Savick, looked at us and said, "Why don't you develop a lucid dreaming seminar?" And we looked at each other and said, "Good idea, we could do that."
Thomas has a background teaching psychotherapists. I'm a hypnopsychotherapist and I teach psychotherapists. So there's a lot more depth in terms of psychological and personal and spiritual growth that we've put together in the program. So what lucid dreaming allows you to do, if you take a particular attitude of empathy and self-acceptance, essentially, so a mindful attitude really, when you go into the dream state, is it allows you to do that under the analysis, interpretation, and integration from the inside, rather than taking this kind of external world bias, which is to assume that everything is separate from me because I hold this perspective looking out at the world. The dreaming, and especially lucid dreaming, allows you to develop the awareness that all of it's you.
We are very much in self-exploration and development, which leads not only to lucid dreaming, but also lucid living, you know.
I love the fact that there's a part of my consciousness that can be incredibly spontaneous and still surprise another part, which is my conscious self. I think if you try to rigidly say, okay, how am I going to have some fun, that can actually limit the creativity of the dream as well. So it's this really nice playful attitude more than the actual experiences themselves, which is what we're trying to cultivate here.
Everything is up to you, and you have certain degrees of freedom in lucid dreaming, you know, and sometimes you're in full God mode, yeah? in your environment, and so you can try anything and you can be very creative, and this creativity is of course part of your self-exploration, because you find new creative energies and ways to express yourself.
We start with how to cultivate good quality sleep and maintain that, and especially in this particular period, that has a lot of people struggle with boundaries and so on, that are spilt out into poor quality sleep. So we cover that, but then we start going into the basics of learning to actually even remember your dreams, because it's very possible to have a lucid dream experience and not remember it. Because, as I say, we want to build a relationship with the unconscious and say, whatever you're providing me is of value. And then that will help more dreams to arrive. And then we go through a process of training techniques for lucid dreaming.
There are exercises where we built a toolbox and like a base camp from where we can approach the dream state.
With the technology that we've got, we can support the slower entry into the dream state. So where normally people expect to just fall asleep and then pop up inside the dream, and the dream-initiated, dream-induced methods, we can also slow down the entry while keeping your conscious mind awake and alert, so that you recognize that you're entering the dream and it starts to create itself around you.
But because we have this technology, the binaural beats we use, we can send people into this state in between without losing consciousness and let them drift into a lucid dream. So we teach the wake-induced methods first, and later in the course we teach the night work, actually the reality checks and the techniques where you fall asleep and then you pop up in a dream and you get lucid during a dream. That's the basic structure of the course. The residential course has a lot more self-exploration part, exercises, and we didn't do that during the online course because you need the personal contact.
I mean, we obviously have a duty of care with our participants, and you know, it's not technically like psychotherapy, but things can come up from the unconscious that you just weren't expecting, and you know, you might struggle to integrate, and that's why both Thomas and I have the experience in being able to support people through that process. So we like to save that for the for the in-person programs, because there have been cases where Thomas has kind of talked to the rest of the class while I've taken somebody aside, and vice versa. So that kind of deep inner work is something that we have in the longer residential program, and of course, you know, we still cover the techniques and everything else as we do online.
I think the first aha moment is when you get the first time lucid. You know, that's a thing for everybody, and for some people is the aha moment is so big that they slip out of the dream immediately, and
this is one of the main reasons why we teach put a lot of emphasis on the wake initiated methods, because the big aha moments usually come in the dream initiated lucid dreams, because you know and most people experience random lucid dreams like that. They are already in the dream, something weird happens, and so they have this big aha awakening, and then it's, oh my god, I'm dreaming, and that might last 20 seconds or something like that if they're lucky, and then they're out. Big rush, really cool. A part of your brain switches on, which is, I don't know if it's mirroring, but that's it should be the right dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, kind of there. You know, here's someone's brain I prepared earlier, and that literally switches on. You can see this part of the brain literally light up. The training that we emphasize requires that not only you recognize that you're a dream, but actually you can start to recognize the approach to the dream. You can get other aha insights when you recognize that maybe something that you've been running away from in a nightmare, for instance, is a part of you that you've been ignoring for 20, 30 years, you know. That can be a big aha, right?
The first aha is when you get the first time lucid, and then you have many ahas every time you touch one of your potentials